strange origin of how it all kind of came to be. No horror whatsoever, it's just a balls-out action movie. And then on the script, when you're reading the script, in one page, it turns into the most intense vampire movie you've ever seen. And the characters are just as surprised as the audience that they're in the middle of a vampire movie at that point. And what it basically, it was Bob who came up with the whole story for it. And basically what it is it's about, well, first, the cast is Harvey Keitel. George Clooney from ER. Myself. Juliette Lewis. Tom Savini. And Fred the Hammer Williamson. Oh man, it was a disaster, boy. We we killed Texas cops, we killed Texas Rangers, we killed civilians, and so it's like the entire state of Texas and the FBI wants to lynch us, in public. And so what we're doing is we're making a mad dash to Mexico. We gotta get out of Texas, they're gonna kill us. All right, and the thing about the two brothers is, now, George's character Seth, anyone who gets in his way, he'll kill him, all right? And what happens is, we know we gotta get across the border, we know there's no way we can get across the border, so what we do is we commandeer a family led by Harvey Keitel and his daughter Juliette Lewis and his son, who we haven't cast yet, all right, who are driving a motorhome, and we commandeer them. So like a Desperate Hours situation, commandeer this motorhome to get us across the border. Once we're across the border, we stop at a Mexican bar that ends up being run by vampires. And the whole rest of the movie is us trying to fight off these vampires, for the last exciting hour. But so that's the cast. That's more or less the story. It was funny when we were doing the deal for it. Actually, it's like this. Actually, the $1,500 that actually Bob paid me out of his own pocket was actually the first time I'd ever been paid to write anything. I had written like True Romance and Natural Born Killers at this time, and I was writing Reservoir Dogs, but no one had ever hired me. No one had ever given me money to do anything, And actually, I took that $1,500. I said like a measly amount, all right, and it is. But I took it and I quit my job, all right, and oddly enough, I never had to take a day job again after that. I just kept getting work one way or the other. But the thing that was funny though was when we made the deal, I said, well, look, I'm gonna be making a movie coming up, and I knew it was gonna be Reservoir Dogs, but I don't think I'd quite finished it, or I just finished it, or something like that. I go, I'm going to be making a movie sometime in the next year. Now, I hadn't shown it to anybody or anything, I just knew that this year was going to be the year I made my movie. All right, and I said, well, if I'm going to do this script, when I do make this movie, which they probably thought, I'm sure you get, yeah, sure, yeah, right. When I do make the movie, will you guys do the effects work on it, for cost, And they go, yeah, sure. All right, and I got it made, and they were there. They did the ear stuff in Reservoir Dogs.
That we've done gags for is that you never see any of it. I mean, we did the ear chopping off, we did Uma getting stabbed in the chest, we did Marvin get shooting, it'll be really cool. And literally, that's what it is. So of course, we're in the middle of shooting Army of Darkness, and Lawrence Bender and Quentin go, okay, Reservoir Dogs is rolling. So I went down and literally had to argue with Lawrence for $400 to pay for materials. I was like, wait a minute, this is the deal I made with Bob. And then we went through all that stuff and blocked all the scenes, and it was pretty amazing. But this movie, I have to say, because Quentin really doesn't write a lot of effects stuff. So when we got the revised script for Dusk Till Dawn, it's like page 70, and all hell breaks loose. And that's all it said. And they go, so we're sitting there talking to Robert Rodriguez, going, okay, what exactly does that mean? And they go, well, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but, and literally, we have stacks of storyboards, and this is the kind of script where if you're reading the script, you go, oh, that doesn't sound so bad. It's like, but then you hear Robert's visions out of his mind, which is incredible. And suddenly, it's a completely different movie. There's so much
Well, yeah, wasn't it thing where like Lawrence said like, you know, oh, well, like the script actually has a little less effects than it has now. Well, you haven't been talking to Robert, all right?
Yeah, we were like, we've been meeting with Robert. I think just because it says this in the script doesn't mean that's what's going to be in the final movie. Robert just got some wild ideas and just plugged them all in.
A lot of morphing. I mean, it's, you know, we want the effects in this movie to be kick-ass. You're going to have the first hour of the movie is going to be this, you know, no holds barred action movie. And then, of course, when you kick into the second gear, it's got to hold up. We all obviously are aware of the fact that these guys can do action movies. So,
Our teeth in their mouth, going, I mean, it's really weird, because almost in a weird way, it almost sounds even weird to call them vampires, because they're more just a bunch of horrible monsters, you know. They're one part vampire, one part rat, one part just sick monster, you know. Am I right?
Shapeshifter is more or less some strange breed of vampire that's been in existence for years and centuries. So it's like a no holds barred. You'll see things happen that are right out of left field. You won't even know they're coming.
And it's like, I mean, the first guys they fight are like all the topless dancers and stuff, and that work in the Mexican bar, because it's like the bar's called the Titty Twister, you know. So it's just a real, you know, sweep up the cum and the blood and the beer, you know, closing. What happens is, like, you know, so they're like all these regular dancers and stuff, but once they turn into vampires, it's not like they just grow teeth, they turn into these like insanely grotesque monsters and stuff. But then the guys are even fighting, there's about like 10,000 bat creatures trying to get in. Forget the guys who are get inside, or they're like fighting them off and stuff. It's gonna be really cool. I remember when I was like just did the final, I hadn't like written on the film, you know, since what, 5 years ago we did it. And then I did a little rewrite on it. I go, well, let me just take it, let me just do a little bit of a rewrite on it and everything. And basically because I'm a better writer now than I was then. And so I started to do this like little dialogue polish on it. And I made it so much better that I had to completely rewrite the whole script, or like it would suck now. Like this part would be better than this part, you know. And I think the script is just great. It's like now the characters are were always fun, but it was the situation that was the coolest. Now the characters are just as good as any characters they've ever written, and they're in this crazy situation. It looks like Steve Buscemi, during the same time we're making our movie, is going to be making his directorial debut. So, yeah, so we really want to, because he's in, because Steve Buscemi is in Pistolero, The Return of El Mariachi. He's in Robert's movie. Yeah. Down in that too, yeah. We're the only two white guys cool enough to be in Pistolero. But we'll see if any other dogs end up in the movie. Yeah, we're doing our best. Only the first page dealt with what happens before they get into the bar. And then once they got into the bar, it was all really detailed. This creature, this monster, this thing happens, that thing happens. And so it was just a natural extension for me to spend a little bit more time before they get into the bar with more of the action stuff. Actually, it's really funny because the first half of the movie is actually kind of a really kind of cool tribute to Jim Thompson's The Getaway. Because, you know, it's like what Doc and Carol are is pretty much the same exact situation that Seth and Richard are in. And as a matter of fact, not the movies, understand, just the book. But the thing is, in particular, there's like an obvious thing in there, because while they're trying to go to Mexico, they're trying to go to El Rey, which is like the Mexican hole in the wall that in the Jim Thompson book that the young couple are trying to get to, which is like when everyone's, you know, when all the cops are after you, so one place you can go and hide out. So that's why we're going to Mexico. We're going to El Rey. All right, and so it's just a full, intense action thing like that. But one isn't necessarily harder. I haven't had the opportunity to write horror stuff before. All right, so it was just new, but it was a blast. I loved doing it. It was great. Yeah, I mean, I think Robert is like probably the greatest editor director who ever lived, at least since Russ Meyer. All right, you know, and like all of his movies, you guys, there's only been one of them released so far. All right, but trust me on this. All right, when you see 4 Rooms and pistolero. I mean, it's all boom, 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 like, 10,000 cuts per second or something.